right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash. Double honors unto our apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Much peace and blessings to all you sons of Akim out there that's pushing this 100% truth without sincerity, faith, and with charity. This is your brother Ash from the Great Millstone Miami Camp, coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Lord willing, edifying to the elect. Okay, this is going to be a quick hit. Lord willing, quick edification to the topic of reminding the flock to be prudent, be wise, and to not be a parrot, okay? Not to be a parrot, not to be a mockingbird, okay? To reference the different levels of intelligence that the Apostle Elder Gabar, always brings out, you know. You have the parrot, which is the first level of intelligence, as the scriptures say in Job. Ask the beasts and they shall teach thee. There's different animals that we can look to, different creations of the Most High that gives us a better understanding of wisdom in itself, okay? And the different animals, they have different levels of intelligence, which we know, man, it has the highest level, right? But in terms of the animals, you have the parrot, which a parrot is a very smart bird. Birds, you have people say a bird brain. Well, birds are very smart, okay? Speaking of the bird, of the parrot, okay? But a parrot can't, we know parrots talk, right? But they don't just talk and say whatever they want, they just repeat. Okay, but that they have to be intelligent in itself to do that. But compared to other creatures, that's a lower level of intelligence. Okay, you have the parrot, then you have the toad, I believe, which is the toad is the next level of understanding. But the toad is a very stubborn creature. Okay, and that's the level of, what you're a parrot, you come in this thing, we all come into this truth as parrots, and we just repeat what we hear, because we don't really know anything, okay? Even though we know the truth, but we haven't been in the truth long enough to actually have the experience to have the true wisdom, okay? How to properly apply this truth, the knowledge that we have. Right, so that's the first level. You come in as a parrot. We all come in as babes, as mockingbirds. Then the next level is a toad, where you start to know a little something. Okay, and this is the level where many men stop at, because as the toad is a very stubborn creature, right? A toad being a very stubborn creature, they don't grow after a certain point because they think they know everything. That's a lot of guys in this truth. A lot of these leaders in these different congregations, a lot of these upstarts, Johnny-come-lately novices, as the scriptures call them, lifted up with pride, falling into the condemnation of the devil. Okay, and that could be men that's been in this truth for years, but their pride won't allow them to go to the next level. Okay, then you have an owl, and an owl, which is another bird, but an owl is a very intelligent creature. Okay, that's the next level of wisdom. They can turn their heads 360. They can see in the dark. Okay, they have a very keen eyesight. And then after that, you have the dragon, which is the highest level of intelligence or wisdom, which we know dragons are known for being ruthless. Okay, ruthless and very sharp in their judgment. Okay, and very wise. As Yahweh Shai said, be ye wise as serpents, yet harmless as doves. So those are your levels of intelligence. And we have to remember to move on, which is funny because I'm right outside of a pet shop right now that sells parrots. But we have to not remain as a level of a parrot. We have to move on. We have to move on from being parrots. Okay, we have to, as the scriptures say in the book of Sirach, which let me grab that because I don't want to butcher it. All right, Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 37:27. My son, prove thy soul in thy life, and see what is evil for it, and give not that unto it. Okay, so you have to experiment in this truth, which that word experiment means to try out. You have to see things for yourself in this truth. Okay? Just because you may know something doesn't mean you really understand it. Okay, unless you've actually been through, certain trials and tribulations, been through certain things to gain the experience. Okay, experiment. If you haven't tried something out yourself, you can't really speak on it. Okay, you may know, okay, the scriptures say this or that, or you may heard the apostles or elders or another brother say this or that. But if you ain't, and you can know the correct answer to a question, but if you haven't been through it yourself, it's really nothing you can say. You really should just hold your peace, because if not, then what are you doing? You're just being a parrot. Now, if you in a situation where you're to give an answer, you know the answer is one thing. But if you shouldn't really be speaking on topics and certain things you haven't been through yourself, because if you are, you're just being a parrot. Okay, and we have to move on from being parrots. You have to gain experience. And that comes with time. That comes with age in this truth. And that comes with acknowledging these points that are being made. Okay? Come with being seasoned. Come with having your senses exercised, as the scriptures say. Gaining discernment. What to do, what not to do. Oh, okay, I can do this. Okay, the apostles and elders, they, as Paul said, what? All things are lawful unto me, all things are not expedient. A brother may be able to do certain things, you may not be able to do it for your spirit. Or you may be able to do certain things that other men can't. It doesn't make you wicked, it doesn't make them wicked. It's just, as it says, you proved what's good for your soul. Okay? Now, what I wanted to bring out, this is oldie but goodie, right? Proverbs 14:15. The simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going. Okay? The simple believeth every word. Now I want to get this in the NLT, because it hits a little harder, in my opinion. Right, this is the NLT for Proverbs 14:15. It says, only simpletons believe everything they're told. The prudent carefully consider their steps. You see that? So only a simpleton will believe everything that they're told. And guess what? That's talking about things you may hear on the news, things you may hear from people in the world, but that also comes from things you hear from your apostles, elders, and teachers. Okay? And how do we know that? How do we know that? Let's get it. Here we go. This is the book of Acts 17:10. And the brethren immediately sent away Paul and Silas by night unto Berea, who coming thither went into the synagogue of the Jews. These were more noble than those in Thessalonica. Talking about the church in Berea, right? Which the Apostle Paul had great things to say about the church in Thessalonica when you read the book of Thessalonians, right? He said they didn't need any men tell them what time they're in. They know perfectly we're in the end, right? So the church in Thessalonica, they were on point with a lot of things, right? But the Apostle Paul said the church of Berea were more on point. Why? In that they received the word with all readiness of mind and searched the scriptures daily whether those things were so. So they didn't just take what the Apostle Paul was saying and running with it without looking it up themselves. They were prudent. They were not simpletons, man. They were on a level, okay? They didn't say, oh, just because the Apostle Paul said it, oh, it must be true. I'm not even going to look it up. Which our apostles and elders encourage us to look up the things they say. Many times the Apostle Tahar has said, don't just take my word for it. Or just because I said, Apostle Tahar even went as far as to say, which is true, it's true, that if he was to say certain things, people would just believe it. You got a lot of brothers out here, if the Apostle Tahar said something that was off, people would just believe it. Brothers would just believe it because the Apostle Tahar said it. And that's not right. That's not cool. Why? Because the apostles many times have said that they cannot save us. They are here to guide us, to teach us, to lead us in the right way, but they cannot save us. The scriptures say what? Seek out thine own salvation with fear and trembling. Okay? So we have to give diligence to make our calling and election sure. We have to check, double check, triple check. We have to know the scriptures for ourselves. We have to know the breakdowns for ourselves. I say I'm talking to myself first. Okay? How many people dropping dead and about to drop dead because they went and ran and took the juice? Being a simpleton, believing every word, trusting the science, right? Which word science means, scientia means to know in Latin, right? They trusted the knowledge of the devil without doing no research themselves, without looking up things themselves. Okay, so we can't be like that. We can't be parents. We can't be parrots. We can't be mockingbirds. We have to look up things for ourselves. That's what's going to take us to the next level in this truth. Not always waiting around for the men ahead of you to tell you to go into this, go into that, read this, read that. Now that's our job to oversee the flock, but we have to take our salvation into our own hands. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Something I wanted to speak on through the Spirit. Hopefully it was edifying. I want to give all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Until the next one, Shalom.